Okay, before we get into this, I want to show you the local news coverage of the Virginia gun rally. And stay tuned to the end of this because the very end of this encapsulates the utter failure of what was supposed to be a stand for the Second and the Fourth Amendment.
All right, let's keep our team coverage going. We saw a lot of people with guns on the streets just outside the barriers. They were advocating for their right to have those weapons. 13 News Now reporter Madeline Schmidt spoke to those people. And Madeline, what was it like out there?
It was interesting for sure. Once again, those official numbers, 6,000 people who went onto Capitol Square, but another 16,000 that were out on the streets of downtown Richmond, and they were well armed with some of them 2, maybe even 3 guns. They had all kinds of them. They were chanting, they were holding signs, they were waving flags. There's a lot of sights and sounds out on the streets, but not a lot of trouble. The people on the outside supported and watched from afar, probably unable to hear the speakers at the Capitol who came to lobby in opposition.
I'm going to pause this for a second, and I'm going to go back to this frame right here. Just remember this frame right here. Remember this guy? Remember this guy. Not specifically the guy, but what they're wearing on their face. What they're wearing on their faces.
And watched from afar, probably unable to hear the speakers at the Capitol who came to lobby in opposition to the gun control bills that are making their way through the General Assembly. There were throngs of people on the streets, many of them decked out head to toe in what you'd typically associate with military combat uniforms. Some of them told us they were dressed as such because of the rumored threats of extremists turning out.
Remember this lady right here?
Today, which ultimately we did not see. We asked one man who would not give us his name or uncover his face what his thoughts are on people who say his garb is just too
Wouldn't give you his name or uncover his face. Keep that in mind.
much and may actually feel uncomfortable with it.
Look at this guy here and this guy behind the guy who's talking.
So, I mean, that's their right, but what they do need to know is that I am very well trained.
All 3 of these guys right here. Not showing their faces. You're going to see why this is important in a second.
I did time in the service, and therefore they're actually, like I said, a lot safer with us being around. Because the vast majority, probably 99% of us here, are very well trained.
Now, as Evan mentioned, when the lobby day events were all said and done, people did clear out pretty quickly. We did just learn a few minutes ago that there was one arrest made today.
One arrest. Wonder why they arrested somebody. What was the reason for the arrest?
It was a 21-year-old woman from Richmond who police say refused to take off her face mask after being asked multiple times by officers.
Refused to take off her face mask, and she was arrested.
Reporting live in Richmond.
The name of this story here is one arrested during Richmond gun rights rally for wearing a mask. I was out there at the Virginia gun rights rally. I can't tell you how many people I saw wearing masks. Of the 22,000 in attendance at the Capitol Square gun rights rally, one person was arrested for wearing a mask in public. But wait, there's more. This is the person who got arrested. Michaela Bestler was arrested for one felony count of wearing a mask in public during Monday's gun rights rally in Richmond. Later, she was released on her own recognizance. This person right here now has a felony, a criminal felony on her record. And she gets arrested around a whole bunch of people who are marching for freedom. Why didn't anybody come to her aid while a crime was being foisted upon her? A crime was committed when she was arrested and kidnapped temporarily for simply not wanting to identify herself in accordance with the Fourth Amendment to be secure in your person. She didn't want to identify herself, and they considered her a criminal because she wanted to be secure in her person according to the Fourth Amendment in the Constitution of the United States, which is the exact reason everybody was out there marching to secure freedoms. Add insult to injury on that is during the march, everybody at the march, they said there were 22,000 people out there, 6,000 that went in the cage. They voluntarily disarmed. They voluntarily gave up their Fourth Amendment rights. They voluntarily, temporarily gave up their Second Amendment rights so they could go up there on the Capitol grounds in submission to the government who said, you can't come up here armed. They submitted themselves to pat downs and to being wanded and to being treated like frickin' criminals. 6,000 people. That's not a gun rights rally. That's a compliance rally. I've done a lot of thinking about what happened there in Virginia. And I want you to take a look at this from Tucker Carlson. This is just footage that I'm going to run while I'm playing. Look at all these people on the Capitol steps. Look at the law enforcers here. And look at this is just a partial picture of the whole group of people. You got the snipers on the roof. A whole group of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people and just a couple hundred. Let's just give them 2,000. Let's just say there were 2,000 law enforcers. There probably weren't. But let's just give them 2,000. You have the people who are fighting and marching for freedom vastly outnumbering the politicians and their law enforcement class these people right here are in the midst of violating their oath, guys. In the midst of violating their oath. So you got all these people bowing down and cowing down to the politicians, the political class, and the law enforcement class. Here's another picture. Look at this. The perimeter law enforcers and all these people. This is just up on the Capitol grounds. This doesn't count the people out in the street. And what did they do? What did all those heavily armed, completely united, freedom-loving individuals do? While they were holding signs that said, I will not comply, they complied. They complied. What do you think they would have done if you just peacefully just walked in and said, no, I don't want to be wanted. I'm going up to the Capitol because this is my right to do this. I'm not giving up my rights. I'm not going to let you trample my Fourth Amendment rights. And then the next guy comes in, and then the next guy, and then the next guy, then the next guy. Just peacefully. No violence. Just armed. I'm coming in armed. Because that's what this nation was founded on. But no. There's something in our minds that's keeping us fearful. Completely united on gun rights. I believe everybody I met out there doesn't want the government to take their guns. But we won't take that next step of not complying, of resisting. The essence of freedom is resistance to tyranny. And I'm counting myself in that, allowed tyranny to flourish on American soil. We were the big dog. We weren't the big dog. We were the lion with the most fierce teeth, the biggest fangs, the most vicious claws. And they were just a little schoolyard rat with just little tiny teeth. But that little rat kept that big lion at bay. That little lion bowed down to the rats, to the few rats that were out there. Look at this footage. It's embarrassing. Look at all these people. We're just walking around with our signs. We're walking around with our cameras. Okay, we'll obey. We'll play by your rules. Look at all these people. And then to add insult to injury, this girl gets arrested and 22,000 people let it happen. 22,000 people who are there for freedom and hate tyranny allowed tyranny to take this girl away because she wouldn't identify herself. As the news lady is
sound
as
such because of the
No, is that
as the news lady is interviewing this guy who won't identify himself. And I'm not against people who don't. Nobody has to identify themselves. I'm not calling these guys out. I'm just showing you there were tons of people there with masks. But for some reason, hey, you didn't comply with the law enforcer. They told you 3 times to take that mask out. Look, it says officials said the arrest happened after an officer saw Belcher for a 3rd time with a bandana covering her face. Oh, God, what a crime. You have a bandana covering your face. You're going down. He had repeatedly warned her on 2 separate occasions to adjust the bandana. She didn't do it. She got arrested. She now has 1 felony count on her record for the rest of her life because she wanted to be secure in her person. You know, the Fourth Amendment, the right to be secure in your person's houses, papers, and effects. She wanted to be secure in her person. She wanted to stay anonymous. It's pitiful, guys. You got 22,000 people united on one common cause. They ain't taking our guns. We will not comply as they're complying. I don't see how the takeaway from this is positive when everybody who was out there, fully armed to the teeth, fully ready, as you saw that one guy estimates that 99% were trained. I doubt it was that high. There's a lot of people out there. But let's say there were a lot of highly trained people out there. In the midst of highly trained, extremely coordinated, absolutely united, people who hate tyranny, we complied. How is that a victory? No matter how united and powerful and threatening and unassailable we seem, we're still going to obey your rules, government. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Google Thought Police in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow banned video. If you guys enjoy these videos, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give them a thumbs up, and share them with everybody you know.